Joining us now, as he does every Wednesday at 4, is the great Brian Baldinger, host of the Best Football Show podcast. Insider Call is brought to you by Nationwide. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side. What's up, Baldy?
Hey, good afternoon, guys. How are you?
What up, Baldy?
A crazy NFL trade deadline. I think bigger trades than we've seen in a while at the deadline. You were on with us last week when we talked about Michael Carter, when the Eagles had made the trade for Michael Carter II. I wanted to talk to you about the two other guys they got. And the first one is Jaelan Phillips. What did you think about the addition of Phillips, how he's looked this year, and how it projects to sort of address the issue they've had at edge all year long?
Well, he'll be their best edge player, period. I mean, he's a very veteran player. He's a great guy. I thought before he tore his Achilles, I thought he was going to be a breakout player in this league with 12 to 15 sacks. He's a true outside linebacker. He can drop into coverage. He can play the run. He's got great length. He's got a good head on his shoulder. He's a humble kid, but he plays the game the right way. He's just, you can go back to college, UCLA, Miami. He's been beset by injuries, and that's what's plagued him. And if he stays healthy, he's going to be an impactful player for this team.
I don't think you can make. You have to make a lot of the fact that he's played for Vic before, because I would have to imagine a lot of the reasons that these midseason trades aren't always as impactful as you would hope they are is because integrating into a team in the middle of an NFL season has to be pretty difficult. But for Phillips, his familiarity with Vic Fangio and his familiarity with Jaylen has to mean a lot.
I agree with you, Spike. I couldn't agree with you more. And I don't think the Eagles, I don't think they would have been as quick to make this deal because, you could go after pass rushers like they went after Bryce Huff, and it was a bad fit in Vic's defense. But this guy, he knows the terminology. He knows what Vic wants. Not everybody likes Vic in Miami. That's one reason why he's gone. But that's just because of the way he coaches and his personality, and some guys, could be coached like that and some guys can't. I think Jaylen liked it. And I think that's one of the reasons why, when John Clark was talking at the airport yesterday, he had a pretty big smile on his face. I think he respects Vic. I think he understands that, I'm not just a pass rusher in this defense. I need to be an every down player. Might have to cover tight ends. Might have to cover the curl flat, whatever it might be. And I'm good to do all that stuff, depending on what, they want to do. And so I think he gives them a great deal of flexibility. He fits right into the rotation right away, depending on, when Nolan Smith gets back. But I think they got themselves a great deal for a third-round pick.
Well, and the other thing that you would hope that I think works out for him and works out for them, and maybe one of the reasons he was so happy, is this is a contract year for him, and now he's on a team in the spotlight. So, maybe he plays so well, he plays himself off the Eagles into a big contract, but for this year, it has to bode well for him, or bode well for them, that he is motivated by the fact that this could be a really big moment for him in terms of his future contracts, how he plays the next 9 games.
I don't think there's any question. And the thing is, the Eagles are building themselves for another deep run in the playoffs. And if you want to evaluate a player for a second contract or, another contract, then watch him in the postseason against, what are supposed to be the best teams. And then you can really make evaluations. I mean, the Eagles played 4 postseason games last year. You watch, for example, Nolan Smith in those 4 games. He was a dominant player. They're going to get a chance to evaluate him not on the next 9 games, but, if you're an Eagle fan, you're going to be able to see him in the postseason against, pick a team. I mean, Seattle, the Rams, pick another team out there and see how he performs. And that might be the first game you turn on if you're trying to decide to give him a contract or not.
Adding Jaelan Phillips and bringing back BG, Nolan Smith should be coming off the IR at some point here. You got Jalix Hunt there. Baldy, how do you like the depth now the Eagles have at sort of that outside edge rusher / linebacker position? You like the depth they have there now?
Yeah, they want to play. They want to dress 8 guys, right? They want to rotate them through. You want to do the hockey shifts, right? Mm-hmm. And wave them through, but you don't want to have a drop off. Right. When that second team comes in, and when they won the Super Bowl last year, I didn't feel like there was a drop off. even when Jalen was a young guy. But I felt like there was good, solid depth throughout.
Yeah.
And I think they're back to that now. And they can wave these guys through without having to worry that, okay, if, I don't know, if Jalen Hunt's not on the Nolan Smith's not on the field, there's not going to be a drop-off in a big game, in a big spot, playoff game, or a play down the stretch here in the stretch run. You want to be able to, keep those guys fresh and play them through and keep them, going into the fourth quarter and, into week 17, 18, 19, 20, and beyond.
Yep. Yeah, you look at the 3 Super Bowls they've been to in the 8 years. I look at those defensive lines on all 3 of those teams. They went 8 deep. Hell, on one of them they may have even gone 10 deep, but they went 8 deep on all those teams that made it to the Super Bowl. I feel like they got a good chance there with this. Baldy also brought in Jair Alexander. Now, Jair Alexander is someone that I liked, especially when he was in Green Bay. I like the sort of personality and attitude he sort of plays with and the confidence, but he hasn't been that player in a couple of years. He's been a healthy scratch down there in Baltimore. What do you think he can bring to the secondary, and do you sort of expect him to be the guy that shapes out to be that CB2 there?
I don't know yet. He played about 65 snaps in Baltimore. He wasn't good.
Yeah.
He wasn't good. I mean, they were terrible. Now, they're playing a lot better now without him. Now, that doesn't mean Jair's a bad player or can't play. Obviously, he's had injuries in Green Bay. They gave up on him. But, he's got a resume. He's got a resume of being a great player and a playmaker. And so you got to go put him out there and see how he performs. And if he can't run well enough against the receivers he's got to cover, probably starting with, Matthew Campbell and some of these guys he's going to see in Green Bay on Monday night. He probably knows, Watson and Dobbs and, some of those guys better than anybody, and Jordan Love. So it might be pretty valuable this Monday night, putting him out there against his old team, knowing that he knows that offense as well as anybody, seeing him every day when he was there. So, we're going to put him in the spotlight. And if, one thing about that cornerback position, if you can play, we're going to find you. And if you can't play, we're going to find you.
Yep.
So we're all going to know, I think, in the next couple of weeks, whether it was a wasted pick or whether it was a steal.
Yep.
Baldy, we're at the bye, basically the halfway point of the season. We've been talking today about just sort of where the Eagles sit at this point in the hierarchy of the best teams in the NFC. Do you see them as, with those teams, the Rams and the Seahawks and maybe even the Packers and the Lions, or do you see them as a level above those teams? Like, how do you see, I guess, the tiers of the NFC at this point in the season?
That's a good question, and it's, we're going to find all that out. But if I had to look into a crystal ball, I mean, they're on the level with Seattle, with the Rams. Obviously, when you could get home run type runs from Saquon, that makes it a lot easier to beat some of those teams, but you can't count on that. But we've seen improvement in the offense enough where, and you're going to get a healthy team now in the second half of the season, at least to start the second half of the season. And I've watched all these teams, and you could be wowed by Jackson Smith and Jigba and Sam Darnold and Matthew Stafford. But, if you just watch, and I know you did, Ike, but if you watch Mahomes against Buffalo the other day, I mean, he got hit 15 times. Like, he wasn't completing any big passes down the field in them. He was getting splattered all over the field. And so all these quarterbacks that have nice, shiny quarterback, ratings and all that kind of stuff, it all changes when they start getting smacked pretty good. And, I'm going to see Drake May Sunday against Tampa, and Todd Bowles, as we speak, is drawing up new pressures to go hit that kid. So we'll see if, he's the number 1 rated quarterback after that game. But that's the league. That's what you got to do. You got to affect these quarterbacks. If you let Stafford or Darnold or Drake May or Jalen, if you let these guys sit back and give them time, like, they're probably going to, the way the rules are right now, the way that you start to, every drive at the 35-yard line, I mean, they're going to score points on you.
You mentioned the Packers, and the Eagles play the Packers Monday night. The Tucker Kraft injury has to hurt them. Looking at that game, Packers have been a hard team to figure out, though they've won games. I don't think they've been as impressive as everyone thought they would be. What are the Eagles looking at on Monday night, and how much does the Tucker Kraft injury hurt them?
Well, I mean, he's their leading receiver. And, he's got 6 touchdown catches. He's a guy that, can catch it and finish it in the paint. Like, he was a big part. Now, they've got other guys, Musgrave, they got other guys there, Fitzpatrick, but they're not Tucker Kraft. This guy, I'm not comparing him to Gronk, but he kind of reminds you of how Gronk was. He's big, he rumbles, he breaks tackles, he always seems to get open. He was the safety valve. He took 3-yard flat routes and turned them into 40-yard gains. So it's a huge loss in that offense. Now, can Matthew Golden pick it up, or Christian Watson, who's now healthy? They're going to have to. But I don't think that the tight end position is a position of strength right now like it was. And he was a big part of what they did. So they have played pretty good defense, except for one game against Dallas. But they played pretty good defense all year. Micah Parsons, he spoke up about the offensive performance, against Carolina, because it was abysmal. Carolina ran the ball down their throats. And then defensively, they beat them up in the trenches pretty good. So they got manhandled in Green Bay. But they've lost to Cleveland in Green Bay, and they've lost to Carolina in Green Bay. And so I'm sure that, with the Eagles coming to town, I'm sure the coach is letting them know that we're not going to get embarrassed on Monday night against another NFC team.
All right, Baldy, thank you as always. We will talk to you next week, same time, same place.
Appreciate it, brother.
Guys. Take care, man. Enjoy.
There he is, Audacy NFL insider Brian Baldinger, host of the Best Football Show podcast. Insider Call is brought to you by Nationwide for your insurance and financial needs. Nationwide is on your side.